This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are the things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
This podcast is brought to you by Kleenex Lotion Tissues. You can't predict sick days, but with Kleenex Lotion Tissues, you can be better prepared for them while helping keep your skin healthy. Kleenex Lotion Tissues moisturize to help prevent skin irritation while you're battling those unwanted cold and flu symptoms. It's extra care when you need it most. Keep relief within reach. Grab Kleenex Lotion Tissues to help avoid the added discomfort of irritated skin during cold and flu season. For whatever happens next, grab Kleenex.
Hockey fans, are you ready to brave the wild? With me, your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Brave the Wild is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps and, of course, on the Hockey Podcast Network. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. And I also, of course, thank Dylan and Kyle for having me on board the Hockey Podcast Network. It's a great pleasure, without a doubt. So it's a wonderful pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. The Minnesota Wild are flashing in front of me. This is a Saturday night special, kind of a spur-of-the-moment type of thing. Minnesota Wild donning those Northstar colors, and this will be a Northstar-themed episode. Remember the episode years ago during the pandemic, late May? I talked about the 1981 Minnesota Northstars. Well, just this past week, a really cool documentary on Fox 9 Plus was released by Sean Skinner called No Stars, as it was basically the whole situation where, well, kind of going over the story when Minnesota lost pro hockey with Norman Green, as he liked to call himself. Hello, I'm Norman Green, the chairman and president of the Minnesota Northstars. Yeah, well, it showed how the RTH was kind of fading away and it became No Stars. Yeah, well, no to the Dallas Stars. That's who the Minnesota Wild are playing tonight. The Minnesota Wild versus the Dallas Stars. And, man, watching that video, it's about, it's a little under an hour long. It is absolutely great. Great job. You have Lou Nanne, you have Dan Barrero, you have all these other people tied to the North Stars. You even have the legendary organ player, the nice now older blonde lady that used to play the organ. She's still got it, man. She's got to be well into her 80s, and she's still got it. I mean, she played it in her house. It was absolutely fantastic. So, yes, this is a spur of the moment to talk about that documentary a bit, not necessarily to be only talking about the documentary, but also just kind of like, you know, just, again, kind of in a way celebrating the documentary, you could say, and also, from my perspective, what could have been. And that's kind of the title of this episode, if I put it in correctly. What could have been? What could have been, honest to God? What if the North Stars were able to stay? What if they were able to strike a deal? What if there was a little bit more patience by a certain idiot named Norm Green, a certain jackass named Norm Green? What if he didn't run away from certain things taking place behind the scenes that he was responsible for, called sexual harassment? Yeah, so we're going to kind of get into a bit of that a little bit. Also, again, just looking back at it and how sad and how emotional it truly was, and how frustrating it is when you look at, and yes, I'll look at the Minnesota Wild prospects a bit. So I'm going to try to split this into 3 segments if I can, maybe a little bit of fan interaction. Obviously, no bat signal put out because this is spur of the moment. I didn't even know this documentary existed until last night when I heard Sean Skinner join Dan Barrero. When I was listening to the podcast of the, I don't know if it was the first hour, second hour, whatever it was. You'll see Sean Skinner in the Dan Barrero podcast. It's not that long of an interview, but it's now on YouTube, the Fox 9 Minneapolis No Stars. So basically look it up, you'll find it. And, you'll get ads in the middle of it like every YouTube video. So, I mean, deal with it. The fact that you can watch it anytime you want, you don't have to wait for it to air at X time, which never happens anymore. thank God for the ability to watch YouTube, as long as you don't have to hurt your data plan or maybe you have unlimited or whatever. So, yeah, I'm kind of all over the place here, and I apologize. So it's going to be Northstars centric for the most part, and then I'll get a little bit into the prospects and just kind of talk about the general, how the Wild are playing and such. That'll be segment 2, and segment 3 will be some fan interaction. There'll be a little bit. There'll be a little bit, but definitely not as much as, like, say, if I put out a bat signal. So it is what it is. Always thanking Derek Velska of Crease and Assist. Obviously, he brought a lot of cool people in my direction, to comment on this show. So always major credit to him. So I was more than happy to help give any tips when he started out his Crease Assist podcast. Obviously, Derek, more of a writer before he became a podcaster, and an occasional guest on this show. And we have some absolute doozies in the past, and he's going to be on again in the future. Of course he is, and I'd like to go on this show sometime one of these days too. Obviously, stupid schedules and such. That's partially for the odd release of the show. Remember how it's normally Thursdays during the course of the regular season, but during the fall cleanup season, well, you're not going to get frequent. You're not going to get consistent releases. It just is what it is. And then you have a spur of the moment thing like this. It's like I'm getting behind the mic, whether in fact I'm tired or not from lawn cleanups from earlier today. I'm getting behind the mic. I'm energized and ready to go. So let's rock and roll. Minnesota Northstars, the whole no stars situation. So where do we start? And what I was getting into about the whole frustration. You know how the Wild basically sell out every single game, and I understand part of it is like just it must absolutely never happen again. What took place with the Northstars, and at the end of the day, I mean, it just didn't make any damn sense why that franchise couldn't sell tickets. Like, why are we talking 9,000 people, like 9,000 people for a Chicago Blackhawks game when they were our arch rival during that 91 season? Blackhawks were the best team in hockey that year, remember? Well, some of you do, some of you don't. You have to be a Gen Xer pretty much to remember that, or an extremely old millennial, we'll say, where you were extremely young when 91 took place, around then, with the last year the Northstars had the N-Star logo. Just the fact, 9,000 people on a Friday or Saturday night for the Blackhawks. Why couldn't they sell tickets? Yet this Minnesota Wild team, mediocre season after mediocre season, not this year though. This year the Wild have been an insanely good story, and they deserve credit for it. Dang it. They do. I definitely don't like every player on the roster. There's some players on this team I would ship out tomorrow if I had the power. But yeah, I know you'd probably hate me though. To name some of the names, you might MF me, and the one guy's initials are MF. Yeah, you can figure it out. He's a third liner, over 30. Yeah. Anyhow, why couldn't the Northstars sell tickets though? See, it's just I remember even at the time, why? Like, was it that expensive, or was it just people taking them for granted? I still remember going to school all the time, and this was, before you really heard them talking about possibly the team moving, even though there was talk about it all the time. We just didn't know, we didn't pay attention enough. I wasn't as, plugged in, so to speak, as I am now. Not that I'm really that plugged in, but I mean, I wasn't as... I wasn't listening to live this and live that, and there wasn't a Twitter or anything like that, but there was a lot of knowledge that the team could move, going as far back as to almost right away with the Northstars possibly moving to Anaheim. That was not meant to be. They wanted to have an expansion franchise, which again is an idea that I'm going to bring up about Dallas. Yeah, again, what could have been? What could have been? That's kind of foreshadowing where I'm leaning towards, but just the fact that this team couldn't sell, but again, the attitude of my classmates back then, I still remember at the time, it drove me nuts. Everybody all the time wanted to remind me in their own subtle, arrogant way, Northstars suck. Why do you care about them? This shirt isn't cool. I remember one guy was wearing a Northstars versus Penguins shirt, and I said, wow, that's cool. And he said, no, uncool. Northstars suck. And it's what is your effing problem? What a D-bag, and it's not like you got to worship the team. Do I worship the Minnesota Wild? No, but I enjoy them. Do I want to just write them off the hell with them? Well, if I did, I wouldn't be sitting behind the microphone right now. But let me tell you, you know how much I cherish the Minnesota Northstars? For Yahoo Sports and Yahoo Fantasy and all that stuff, what's my logo? The Northstars logo. It's the green. It's a green circle with the N star look. What's something that I featured for so long for Brave the Wild was the North Star logo in the background, because I want to always have North Star inclusion on this show. Why am I? What's my favorite Wild jersey? The green ones that look like they're from the late 70s, early 80s. Like the 81 North Stars. They actually have that same look right now. They call it 78, but it could be 81 as well, because it's not like they only wore those jerseys in 78. That's kind of when those debuted. Before that, the North Stars didn't have as much gold, if I remember correctly. It was mostly, there wasn't really a whole lot of gold. It was green and white kind of stripes, like multiple stripes, like dating back to Lou Nanne playing for the North Stars, not GMing them or even coaching them for a brief stint in 1979 during another transition period when the team was, sucking big time. Yes, the North Stars sucked at times. They had some really bad stretches. But it's funny how they'd suck for a little while, and then right after that, they made their big playoff runs. Late 70s, the North Stars bottomed out, and they stunk big time. And then you got Bobby Smith and Neil Broughton and Dino Cicerelli and so on and so forth. And they went to the 81 finals, but they had the skill level to get to the finals, but they didn't have the toughness and experience and leadership to win the Stanley Cup finals. And I am saying it with an S because that's what it was called then, and it sounds better in my opinion. They didn't have the ability to beat a dynasty club called the New York Islanders. And then in 91, well, it was kind of different. It was like a scrappy team of veterans that could really play, like Brian Propp. The poor guy never won a Stanley Cup. What did he go to, like 4 cup finals, I think? It just breaks your heart. My heart aches for Brian Propp. That's a guy that gave his all. He was a super talented, kind of second line-ish skill type of guy. Smaller guy, but could play. I'm trying to think of players who he'd remind me of today, but I'm probably going to be wrong, and I'll hear about it. Not that I really mind being educated from people that have a better idea of similarities. I'm looking at the Philadelphia Flyers logo right now. That's Brian Propp right there. Yep, they're playing the Buffalo Sabres. I almost should put that on instead of watching this boring pregame stuff until the game finally starts. I'm not a big fan of pregame stuff. Just put the game on. But Philadelphia Flyers, Brian Propp. Yep, there was a definite Philadelphia Flyers vibe to that Minnesota North Stars club in 91 because, Bobby Clark, the legend of the Philadelphia Flyers, the Broad Street Bullies, when they won 2 cups in a row and then never won again in the 70s. They won those cups and they never won again. But they've been to like 50 Stanley Cup finals since then. It's unbelievable how many cup finals the Flyers have been to, but they lost them all. And it kind of breaks your heart. In 1980, the Flyers had the best record in the NHL, but the Islanders beat them, and then the dynasty began. Brian Propp was on that team. 85, Flyers lost to the dynasty Oilers. Brian Propp was on that team. 87, Flyers lost to the dynasty Oilers. Sound familiar? Brian Propp was on that team. 91 North Stars lost to a miniature dynasty with the skill, a team that had Edmonton Oilers-like talent, but didn't keep winning after 92 when they did their back-to-back deal. Edmonton Oilers, they were loaded, like a Oilers type, and they even had a former Oiler named Paul Coffey. They had a former Calgary Flame, named Yuri Herdina, if I'm saying that correctly. Yuri Herdina. Extremely talented team. Joe Mullen, the former Calgary Flame, also was on that team. There was a Calgary Flame vibe on that Pittsburgh Penguins team, and the North Stars had a Philadelphia Flyers vibe. Well, that Flames team actually did get one championship out of it, and obviously, Paul Coffey, Edmonton Oilers superstar, legendary defenseman, and the Wild made a genius trade, or North Stars made a genius trade that year for a third pair of defensemen for a legend. Genius trade. I've mentioned it about 50 times on this show. Larry Murphy for Jim Johnson. We just needed to toughen up, you see. Yeah, we just had to get tougher. So, look, Larry Murphy's off to a crappy start. We can do better. We can toughen up and get Jim Johnson. How'd that work out? Larry Murphy won multiple cups with Pittsburgh. Yeah, he was a stud, an absolute stud, and we had him. The North Stars had Larry Murphy. Yeah. Yep, to all you youngsters, North Stars had Larry Murphy. I'm not bitter at all. But now I'm kind of going off into just flat-out North Stars talk, history, and I mentioned a lot of this before. But, again, when you think about the talent on that team, the days of Cicerelli. Obviously, Neil Broughton, unfortunately, he had some injuries that, derailed him later on in his career. He played forever, but he wasn't like a stud like he was, like, say, in 85 when he had over 100 points, him being Neil Broughton. But he was still good. Cicerelli had some weird moments, and then we ended up trading him for Larry Murphy. Hall of Famer for Hall of Famer. Sounds good, right? Good. Sounds good with the Capitals. And then you get Jim Johnson in the end. God almighty. That's like a Bogosian type of guy. I mean, great, we love you, Bogosian, but not for Larry Murphy. You know what I mean? Come on. Jiminy Christmas, man. We love you, Bogosian. We just love you. But not as much as Larry Murphy. Larry Murphy. I like saying that name a lot. I really do, especially on this show. Especially when I think about the Northstars and stupid trades that suck. I mean, just suck. Ugh. What's next? Brock Faber for Zach Bogosian 2.0? I don't know. Let's not even think about that. That'd be pretty stupid. Oh my God, let's not even go there, right? Don't even think about it, Mr. Bill Guerin. Don't even think about it now. Okay, so the finances. I know I've been sidetracked. I went down rabbit holes here. But I love the Northstars, damn it. Yeah, man, I talked that long. I'm really sorry. Let's get going. A little too hyper here talking about the Northstars. But it's just, you get an owner in Norm Green, obviously in a franchise that constantly had financial issues, and it drives you crazy. It's crazy that they had such financial issues all the time when you consider the value of every sports franchise has gone up like crazy, no matter who it is, if it's the Minnesota Timberwolves or the New York Yankees. The value of these franchises has exploded over the years. The Wild were worth way more than the Northstars just 7 years later. It's just crazy. And you got the brand new arena and all that. The Northstars were talking about going into Target Center in some weird situation where revenues would have to be split. Sometimes I don't understand that because I don't think the Clippers and the Lakers split revenue, did they? So I don't understand. It's you're playing tonight. That revenue goes to you, doesn't it? But I don't know. Maybe it's for the advertising. I know that was part of it. So for some goofy reason, typical city of Minneapolis, a bunch of lunatics couldn't get the job done. Well, except for Target Field, thank God, and U.S. Bank Stadium. But that was several years later. But with the Northstars, we can't do that. No. The Met Center obviously was not making money. They lacked in suites. But still, there were seats available for fans to go to, and just people didn't go to games. Now, I'm guilty of it because of HDTV and the fact that, well, I guess like Norm Green or like Northstars, I financial issues, I can't really afford to go to games, and I love being able to watch them in HD. Back then, we didn't have HD. We didn't. And tickets, as expensive as tickets may have been at the time, with inflation and this and that and so on and so forth, tickets weren't as expensive back then. Even though it's like, yeah, of course, a $20 ticket back then was way more expensive than a $20 ticket now. That's like buying a cheeseburger, practically, versus, oh my God, $20 for a ticket? Jeez. Or $35? Really? $35? Yeah, and it's like, you open the Game Time app. We're going to hear from them coming up. Like $35 is like a bargain like you wouldn't believe, right? So you open your Game Time app and look at those ticket prices. Obviously there's great deals on there, but just saying, that would be that'd be a super deal, right? Depending on the location. But it's just strange that franchise could not sell. It just couldn't sell. And then the minute they leave, it's like, oh my God. Like, how could we let this happen? This is the stupidest thing ever. It's extremely frustrating. So obviously there was frustrations from Norm Green, but some of the reasons why they left obviously were brought on him with several, again, watch the video, but several sexual harassment, strange, awkward situations with Northstars employees and such, and just other random people, fans, Northstars employees, fans. Creepy guy, really creepy guy. Kind of a, just a sleazy SOB. And it's sad that's sad that this could take place where his wife supposedly demanded, we need to get out of this area. You need to get away from all this stuff floating over our heads. We need to move the team. And I know, like, a lot of people do believe that's why the team moved. Others, obviously, it had to do with finances. But I think at the end of the day, what Norm Green really was after, what Norm Green was truly after, I think, was a quick profit one way or another. One way or another. Kind of like Red McCombs with the Minnesota Vikings. I think that was his real goal. You buy the franchise, you try to get a new stadium, possibly threaten to move, one way or another, a new stadium or a move to maybe a larger city or whatever, and you sell the team not too long after that for a pretty good profit, because the team's value will go up and you'll find somebody who'll be willing to pay more on the fly, kind of a spur of the moment thing, with an opportunity to buy a franchise. Wow. So like maybe you go from, let's say, $200 million to $600 million, which is pretty much what Red McCombs did. He went from $250 to like $650, I believe. And from 98 until 2005 was when Red McCombs sold the Vikings. That wasn't that long. That was like 7 years. Imagine Norm Green doing something similar with the Minnesota Northstars and keeping them in Minnesota. Just being patient a little bit, and if not for some of that sexual harassment bullcrap, or just his evil ego, impatience, and just kind of an ego, one way or another. One way or another, I do believe Dallas, Texas, or Houston, Texas would have had a franchise, one way or another. And the way I look at that, the whole situation, maybe if it wasn't for the sexual harassment nonsense, if the guy wasn't a frickin' creepy son of a bitch, if he wasn't a frickin' creepy son of a bitch, this franchise probably could have stayed in Minnesota. And it just breaks your heart more and more, because you look at the whole picture with the expansion coming up not that long in the future. Obviously, there were other opportunities along the way. The Oilers threatened to move for like 5 minutes or so around 94, around there, 94, 95, and that never came to fruition. The Hartford Whalers did end up moving, but to North Carolina. That's exciting. Okay, but it's another warm climate. They did win a Stanley Cup. Bless their hearts, in 2006. They went back to the finals. They went to the conference finals multiple times. They got to the finals and got crushed by the Detroit Red Wings in 2002, if I remember correctly. So, yep. I always get the 01 and 02 mixed up between Detroit and Colorado winning cups. So my apologies there. The Ray Bork year where he went there and got his cup, and that was awesome. Awesome story. You know, like another franchise that had been to so many finals and lost and lost and lost and lost. That was the Boston Bruins. So heartbreaking there. Conference finals and cup finals like Philadelphia. Philadelphia and Boston, just a lot of heartbreak there when it came to the NHL and opportunities to win cups, and they just didn't get them. They do have cups, but not many. Not many. Philadelphia and Boston. So where am I going with this? Okay. Excuse me, that kind of came out of nowhere. So my apologies for that. Try not to cough to death, right? So expansion took place. It started the teams were announced in 97. The first franchise was started up, depending on having arenas ready to go, because, Minnesota took a few years because you had to do a project. We'll get to that in a second. 97 teams were announced in, mid to late June in 97. And, yes, mid to late June of 97, you had Nashville, and they were able to start up in 98 because they had an arena ready to go by then. Atlanta, the Thrashers, of course, that are now the Winnipeg Jets, the second version of the Winnipeg Jets, 99, and then Minnesota and Columbus in 2000. So my solution to the whole situation, obviously in a perfect world, and if things could have worked out a different way, a different damn way, you could have had a deal struck. Say Norm Coleman was the mayor of St. Paul, and he came up with a pretty good idea. Him and other people around him, and Robert Negley and all them and such later on, when it came to the actual expansion franchise. But the idea of building a new arena on the site of the Civic Center, the St. Paul Civic Center, which is what exactly took place at Xcel Energy Center. If only that idea could have came to fruition a little earlier, Norm Green would have, everybody would have been happy. Norm Green would have got his quick profit, and the Northstars would have never left. Think about it. I remember they were talking about moving to St. Paul. They were like St. Paul Stars, but that was just Civic Center only. And the Civic Center is not big enough to house a National Hockey League team. you already had the Met Center. That could have been a home for a little longer, just like when the Vikings stayed in the Metrodome for a little longer. Big bleeping deal, right? They could have done it. It wouldn't have killed the bleeping franchise if they stayed in the Met Center for maybe 3 to 4 more years tops, to get a deal done by, say, 96, 97, to have the NSP Center, let's imagine, because it wasn't called XL until 2000. Let's say it's the NSP Center that became XL Energy Center. You have that done. You have that deal done. The Northstars moved to St. Paul to play in the NSP Center. It wouldn't have been as modern as this current one, but it probably would have been pretty good. I mean, it would have been close enough. It would have been very similar, I'm thinking. I can imagine, the designers. Imagine, the same designers that did the great job they did with XL Energy Center. I really appreciate XL Energy Center. I think it's an absolutely gorgeous building. Obviously, it's going to need some updates. It's 25 years old almost. It's hard to believe. It's very hard to believe. I still remember it going up in the late 90s and how exciting that was. It was sad to see Civic Center go because that was a gorgeous place. There were so many hockey memories there going back into the 70s. Unfortunately, I had heartbreak in a national championship game with Harvard beating the Gophers in overtime, kind of like Quinnipiac beating the Gophers in overtime just a couple springs ago. Hopefully the Gophers can overcome. Hopefully Bob Moskow and all them can get it done this coming spring. Hopefully, because that team looks awesome this year. Last year was disappointing. But yes, it was heartbreaking to see the Civic Center go. But the replacement was great. Like St. Paul Civic Center kind of had a miniature. It kind of looked like Madison Square Garden, didn't it? Like at least at the top, it was like a miniature version of it. It was a much smaller version. What did it house? Like 9,000 to 10,000 people. That's not NHL. I'm sorry. It's an awesome building, but it was a cool building. Lots of memories. But don't like what I'm seeing on the TV here. Sorry, nonsense. But no, it was a very cool building. But it was better for like high school hockey tournaments. Smithsonian, which I went to, and I got to be in there and looked at that ceiling, and it's so cool. Coolest ceiling ever. Looks like Madison Square Garden. Looked, past tense. But yes, you end up sacrificing the St. Paul Civic Center just like we did and build the new arena on the site, just like the Wild did. And the Northstars never leave. Just think about that. Think about that vibe. The Northstars never leave. Ever. Norm Green sells the team to Bob Negley or Craig Leopold or whatever the heck the situation is. But, well, Craig Leopold would have been Nashville. Bob, maybe, yeah, like it's Bob Negley. Bob Negley buys the Northstars for a cheaper price than he would have had to pay for the Minnesota Wild. Expansion franchises cost more because it's newer and blah blah blah, and you're entering the league. So it could have possibly happened. It maybe. Now odds are some financial wizard out there who was around back then who knew like a Lou Nanne, who obviously financial and knowledge of the NHL and all the different situations with the Northstars going along with the NHL and what was demanded, what was needed in the revenue, this and that. If only that could have possibly happened. A little teeny bit of patience. The Wild, or Northstars, hang out in XL Energy Center. I'm going to call the Wild the Northstars all night because I'm looking at them skating on the screen right now wearing those early 80s, late 70s, early 80s look that I love so much, playing against the Dallas Stars. So perfect timing for this, for that documentary, and for me to do this episode of Brave the Wild. But imagine the Northstars stay, and then the expansion franchise that was awarded to Minnesota is awarded to Texas, Dallas, or Houston. Everybody's happy. And there is no Dallas Stars. It is the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know. I have no idea what the name could have been. Houston Aeros. I don't know. Houston Aeros were obviously a AHL team. Damn, I can't get this to stop. Oh, because it was stuck on YouTube. My apologies. Sorry for the noise. But imagine, see, that's the vision that I've came up with, and it's been on my mind, since last night. I just was like, just imagine if it turned out that way. Everybody's happy. You never lose the Northstars. Texas gets a franchise. Okay, they don't win the Stanley Cup in 1999. Well, screw them. I don't care. It's Texas. Earn it. Dang it. They took, you had Madonna, you had all those, and then they were able to get Belfour, who knows, with the new arena, maybe the Minnesota Northstars could have gotten Ed Belfour. That would have been the coolest thing ever. Imagine the Northstars with Ed Belfour. That would have been cool. It would have been awesome. Obviously, again, a lot of people were terrified when they noticed how the crest, when the Minnesota Northstars color scheme and crest all were changing to that black-green look, and it was like a bright gold, obviously like an actual gold, not like the yellow gold like you're seeing on the Northstars right now. Northstars Wild jerseys. At the time, I thought it was really cool, but see, because I didn't know. I wasn't a 45-year-old like I am now. I wasn't 35. I wasn't 25. Like, why are we completely changing the identity of the team here? Even though it's the same name, but it just says Stars instead of Northstars. And it's like, that could be anything. We're not from the North anymore. It could be Texas. It could be Cincinnati, Ohio. It could be whatever. Cincinnati Stars, that rolls right off your tongue, doesn't it? The Texas Stars. Get the hell out of here. That's their AHL team, and good for them. Gosh, we used to have the Kalamazoo Wings, and they looked like the North Stars, didn't they? I liked them. Kalamazoo Wings were our affiliate back in the day. Kalamazoo, Michigan, pardon me. But, imagine the North Stars never leave, and that expansion team ends up going to Dallas, Texas. They already had Reunion Arena, not American Airlines like today. It was Reunion Arena at the time when the Dallas Stars, won the cup or whatever and first played there. And Modano had his 50-goal season, I think, right away. It's a great start to his, great start to his time in Dallas. Obviously, he was miffed by the whole dang thing. As when you watch the documentary, he's there. He was miffed by it, and a lot of the players were as well. He seemed fairly happy in Dallas, though. I think the fans loved him, and he liked the fans and everything. But still, deep down, it's like you feel like he had more of a heart here than he thought, or at the time. Later on, his time in Dallas, during his career, it was after the Stars had left and the Wild didn't exist yet. Modano was complaining about how the fan support just wasn't there. He mentioned that later on, but nowadays you could tell he regrets making that statement because he's got a totally different vibe now regarding the North Stars leaving compared to back then. The sales weren't there, and it is beyond me why that took place. Obviously, again, like we took them for granted. Everybody in this state took them for granted, and it's just a damn shame. Like, not everybody, but a lot of people did. Like the Fairweather fans out there took them for granted, where now there's more legitimate. Like, this is we don't want this team to ever leave. We don't ever want to lose hockey again. We don't want to lose the Vikings or the Timberwolves or the Twins. And every one of those teams, there was always this little threat that they might leave, and it was annoying as hell. Until we finally built the new stadium for all, not the Timberwolves yet. That's still there. That threat still exists. And back then, the Target Center was going to be the saving grace for the North Stars, according to a lot of people, because that was the brand new building, which is kind of funny. Now that's the old crappy one that people want to move on from, one way or another. But again, patience by Norm Green and others. Maybe that stupid sexual harassment. He's not a creepy idiot like a lot of people out there. I don't know. Yeah, it's just a shame. It's just a shame that all that took place. Yeah. It just, it tugs at your heart. I love that the Wild are wearing these. I hope that it can be a permanent rebrand of some sorts, but I don't know if that's ever truly going to happen, but it's a gorgeous third jersey, and I'm glad that the NHL is allowing us to do that. I really am. I think it's great, and hope this continues for one way or another. If it's a rebrand, great. There's been rumors about it. Russo denied it, blah, blah, blah. But wouldn't that be crazy, though? Wouldn't that be the darndest thing if all that took place? Like Dallas or Houston gets the expansion franchise that we wouldn't need. You still got... So maybe, again, with Reunion Arena, you have Nashville and Dallas in 98, Atlanta 99, and Columbus is by themselves in 2000 instead of with us. So it's Dallas and Dallas/Houston and Nashville would open things out because they had the arena ready to go. Like Reunion Arena is where the Mavericks were playing, and the Dallas Stars played in that building for many years before American Airlines Center or arena or whatever was built and housed the Dallas Stars. So like they do today. Jason Robertson and all them dudes in Dallas. Our buddy, the great goaltender there in Dallas. But, yeah, so those are kind of my thoughts. I mean, it's up to you what you think. Maybe I sound like an idiot. Maybe you think I make a little sense. I'd like to believe I make sense a little bit. Jake Middleton's having an awesome season, by the way. What's he in pace for, like 50 points, 45 points? It's crazy. Who'd have thunk it, though? The Minnesota Wild are ahead of the Dallas Stars. 11-2-3 on the season. Amazing. Dallas is, so that stupid loss to the Blackhawks was it was an overtime loss. 10-5 Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars, a lot of people see them as a cup contender. They are. But the Wild right now are playing like cup contenders, which is the weirdest thing ever. I'm not sure about success in the postseason, but we'll see. Obviously, with injuries to Eriksson Ek, which is I think that one's more of a day-to-day. But a longer-term injury, I don't know what happened exactly with emergency surgery kind of needed, as Mr. Zuccarello was hitting the groin area. Crazy. So Liam Olgren and Michael Milne, Mikey or Michael Milne or whatever, is up with Minnesota. Kind of interesting lineups. Kind of cool. Merit Huznadinov has, of course, been on Minnesota all season, and good for him. Rossi dropped down to the third line, which is kind of weird. Milne's on the fourth. Milne, whatever, and Liam Ogren's in that secondary, that second line with the second line with Goudreau of all people. I'm not sure what's going on there. That's kind of weird, but yeah, it is weird. But the center, which is really interesting of the top line, is Matt Boldy. Pretty wild. Did you see what I did there? That was funny, right? No, not too funny. But, yeah, it's real interesting to think about how that's all set up. But it's exciting. You're hoping that this can work out for the Minnesota Wild going forward. And unfortunately, injuries are a damn shame. They truly are. Whoops. So that's obviously a huge bummer at the end of the day. Sorry about this. Also kind of setting things up a bit to look at the prospects in a little while. But also, the Minnesota Wild lines as well. That can be a little bit, it's a little confusing. It's a little different. Sorry if I'm babbling here. Yeah, Boldy's centering Johansson and Kaprizov. Johansson, why is he on the top line? Freddie Goudreau is centering Hartman and Ogren. Yeah, these aren't the prettiest lines ever. Rossi's with third line. What the heck are we punishing him for? But, yeah, I mean, why isn't Goudreau just centering the third line? I think that's kind of weird. But maybe, again, with this, John Hines, things can move around. He's more versatile than a certain Columbus coach named Dean Evison. Marco Rossi is centering Foligno and Trenin. Yeah, goody for him, right? Merit Huznadinov is centering Jacob Lauko, who's been, I think, better than Trenin, honestly. And Michael Milne making his NHL debut. I'm messing around. So nice to see that happening right before me. Wearing a Northstar colored jersey. Boldy centering that top line, looking like Bobby Smith wearing that number 12 there, playing like a center, taller guy as well. So looking like Bobby Smith wearing the Bobby Smith era jersey with that number 12. So Bobby Smith Boldy out there centering Johansson and Kaprizov. Again, who's also having a historic season in Kaprizov's case. The other guy that was out was Brodin, and the wonderful replacement, at least in the lineup overall, it's John Merrill. Yeah. Anyhow, Brock Faber and Middleton, top pairing. Second pairing, Spurge, who's back healthy and playing pretty well, to his credit, with Declan Chisholm. I kind of like that combination right there. And then Bogosian and Merrill, okay. Well, Merrill has been solid, and he's in the final year of his contract. So, okay. And Zach E.B., Zach Bogosian, Zach buy one, get one. Okay, I know. Zach Bogosian, Bogo. Yeah. Doesn't get you killed out there. And again, I apologized in the last episode when I ripped him for committing that penalty late, right before overtime a few weeks ago. I believe that was versus the Jets. He doesn't commit that penalty. The puck goes in the net and the game's over. So what was I talking about? I felt like a moron when I bitched about that on Twitter. I was like, why did I do that? And you can't delete the tweet, can you? Well, yeah, you can, but I felt so stupid. God, that was embarrassing. But with that, yeah. With that, the Mike Modano Award winner is Mike Modano for It's Mike Modano for, I guess from what I could tell in that video, showing a lot of remorse to fans and really, I don't know what else to say, just being miffed by what took place with Norm Green rather than just saying, yeah, that was a good move and, the fans weren't there for us or whatever he said back in the 90s. That was really annoying for a lot of us. I think that was, it was frustrating. And then you had then the obvious James Shepard Memorial popcorn maker is Norman Green. Or even the organ player is working harder. The Zamboni driver is working harder. Yeah, screw you. Yeah, you're working harder on the women, you son of a. Yeah, you're working harder on the women, and that's one of the reasons why you left Minnesota. Thank you very much, buddy. That's the only thing working harder was you on the women. Yeah, inappropriately, you stupid son of. Why'd you have to do that? Why? Especially when you're in a prominent position like that. You don't think that's going to get out and it's not going to ruin your career? It's pretty much what it did. God, you big dope. Like, what's the point, But that's the problem with Norm Green. He had an ego. Boy, did he have an ego. Everybody's got something, but that guy had an ego. With that said, I've babbled enough. I have a lot to say, obviously, about the Northstars. And it's not like I get to talk about them a whole lot. That's why the segment was so huge. But I'm enjoying this. This is fun. Heck yeah. So let's look at the prospects a bit, eh? Is there anything better than hearing the sounds of hockey in person? The sounds of the stick hitting the puck, the sounds of players checking into the boards, just the sounds of action, the roar of the crowd, the excitement when a player maybe has a 2-on-1, and the ultra excitement of a goal. Well, with the Game Time app, you can get there and enjoy it in person. That is what it's all about. Up and coming, we have a game on December the 12th. We're going to be hosting the Edmonton Oilers, the Minnesota Wild and Xcel Energy Center. Looking at all the different seats, you can get them as cheap as $90. There's a special in the lower deck at the moment right now. Up in the upper deck, you can get $54, $52. The Game Time app, you get the map. Just simply go up to it's on a Thursday, December 12th. The Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid, the team I'm actually picking to win the Stanley Cup ever since they lost the Stanley Cup to the Florida Panthers. So that's an upcoming one. At least chronologically to this particular show, you got the Winnipeg Jets coming up on Monday the 25th as we head closer and closer into the week of Thanksgiving. That's always extremely exciting. Before, obviously, you can have an early celebration of Thanksgiving hosting the Winnipeg Jets, who have the best record in all of hockey right now. So those are definite possibilities. As cheap as $42 in that one, even $35. There's an on-fire seat that you can get to. So it's extremely exciting to get that. As cheap as $35. It's what a heck of a deal. Even $82, a super deal in the lower deck. I mean, that's exciting. Great deal. Even if you have $40, another upper deck, but I mean, even a lower deck, if you want to get up to $82, you can browse all the different possibilities. What an awesome app. What an awesome app Game Time truly is, where you can get all the different possible prices. The super deal, again, that's the extremely exciting one, but even the cheapest deal as well. And you still get a great view of the ice. Everybody knows how good Xcel Energy Center is. You're pretty much on top of the action, whether you're in the upper deck or the lower deck. So it's all kind of up to you when it comes to that. And the options are all there, even with the Minnesota Wild. And the fact we actually sell tickets with the Wild, where the Northstars, of course, struggled in the past in this particular episode. At the end of the day, you want to take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. So again, just do the math there with the Winnipeg Jets. Could you imagine $62 for that super deal? Man, that is awesome. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code THPN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. What time is it? Game time. Yes, segment number 2. Nothing like doing Brave the Wild with having the Minnesota Wild skating around and flashing on the television against the Dallas Stars on a Saturday night. Is there anything better? I don't know. This is fun. I didn't think I'd be enjoying this as much as I did, but some of these Saturday night shows are fun. Like I've done a few of these in the past. I mean, remember that was during like the playoffs and such, and just kind of keeping up with the NHL playoffs and the Wild at times when they were in their first round series and making things interesting versus Vegas, if I remember correctly, a few years ago. That was fun. Well, it's many years now, but it's been a few. But anyhow, with that said, we are going to hear from DraftKings right here and right now. The quest for the Stanley Cup starts now. The puck dropping on the 24-25 season. Get in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. So, available lines at the moment. Well, this is today. Yep, at the moment. So, just in case you're listening at this exact second, I wish I could have tomorrow's, so I apologize for that. But yeah, the Sharks and the Pittsburgh Penguins, that's like a rematch of the, it's a rematch of the Cup Finals back in 2016, Pavelski and all them, Philadelphia Flyers. So that one's already locked up. So my apologies for this. It's like kind of a bad timing to be reading this one, unfortunately. So to try to get some future ones here, I apologize for that. Carolina Hurricanes. Oh, here we go. Much better. My apologies. How stupid of me. Sunday. Okay, St. Louis Blues visiting Carolina Hurricanes. The money line is where we'll go. St. Louis Blues plus 225. Hurricanes minus 278. Washington Capitals visiting the Golden Knights. Another Cup Finals rematch. 2018 in this case. Golden Knights are the host, minus 135. Washington Capitals plus 114. Rangers and Kraken. The Kraken, we're going to get Kraken Sunday night hosting the New York Rangers. Kraken are a plus 170. Definitely the underdogs, the Rangers, minus 205 on the road. Wow. Vancouver Canucks hosting the underachieving and expensive Nashville Predators later on Sunday night. Minus 120 for Vancouver, plus 100 for Nashville. This is the money line. So there you go. Able to get some Sunday games in. I apologize. I was looking at so that's how that goes. At the end of the day, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. So if you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. So very cool. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in New York. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see dkng.co/ice. That's dkng.co/ice. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights reserved. Thank you very much, DraftKings. Really appreciate you having you on board with us at THPN. We love you very much. Zeev Boyum recently had a hat trick, so he's off to a great start. Nope, I'm not talking about Zeev Boyum. That was Liam Ogren. Zeev Boyum, no. But 10 assists in 10 games so far for the defending national champions, and I do believe they're ranked number 1 again, which is annoying. But the Gophers are ranked 3rd, so they've been unbelievable for the San Diego native with 10 assists to open up the season. I don't know. I heard somebody say he had it, but no, I didn't think he did. That was Liam Ogren. Probably people are just getting things mixed up. But Liam Ogren, who's skating with Minnesota at the moment, did have a hat trick in Iowa, but unfortunately just 1 goal in his second game, and then the hat trick recently, 4 goals in 4 games total, so 2 games with nothing so far, no assists for Liam Ogren, and he's even in Iowa at the moment. I want to look at the Iowa Wild right now. Travis Boyd's leading the club in scoring officially. Yep, we have a lot of veterans there again to help out. Travis Boyd, the former Gopher, 30 years of age from Hopkins, Minnesota. 2 goals, 9 assists, which leads the team in points and assists. Ben Jones from Waterloo, Ontario, only 25, so he's still got a chance. 10 points in 13 games, 4 goals, 6 assists. Michael Mikey Milne, whatever you want to call him, 4 goals, 4 assists in 10 games, plus 8 points, and he's a plus 2, which is a pretty outstanding thing, actually, considering, a lot of people are minus this, minus that. Travis Boyd's a minus 5, Ben Jones a minus 4. Devin Shore, who has 8 points, 7 of them assists in 14 games, is a minus 10. Brendan Gaunce, both of these guys are 30 years of age, by the way. 13 games, 3 goals, 4 assists, minus 12. Ouch. Reese Johnson's a plus 2. That's good. Brady Marek, plus 1. He's only 23 from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Big guy. Power forward at 6'4". 4 goals for Bradley Marek. Pardon me. That does tie with a lot of people for second. Hunter Haight does lead the team in goals with 5 goals, 3 assists. He's only a minus 1, so that's not bad for the 20-year-old Hunter Haight. Good for him, getting some AHL, action. Spacek is a minus 2. That's not too bad. 1 goal, 3 assists in 13 games. That's not too bad. So, encouraging there. Caden Benkir, only 4 assists in 13 games, and he's a minus 8. 21 years of age for Caden Benkir. Damon Hunt has been all over the place, up with Minnesota, and this and that. Only 2 assists in 6 games. He's a plus 1. Damon Hunt is obviously a guy who probably should be in the NHL, but he's pretty much been a popcorn maker, unfortunately, with James Shepard, which is annoying. And I don't mean like he's been a bad player, but he's been stuck there. Graham Clark, who was called up to Minnesota more than once, only 5 games at the AHL level for the 30-year-old native, 30-year-old native Minnesotan, 23-year-old native Minnesotan out of Waconia. Sorry, I'm just annoying myself here. 1 goal, 2 assists in only 5 games at the AHL level at the moment. Carson Lambos, only 2 assists in 11 games. But here's the encouraging part. Way better than last year. Even. He's even. So the fact he's been unproductive offensively, but that means he's done a pretty good job defensively. Like, he's been focused. That's encouraging. That's encouraging, though. Like, wasn't he, way minus last year? I don't know. Ryan O'Rourke was, 30 minus or something last year. It was utterly ridiculous. 13 games, only 2 assists for him, and he's only a minus 3. So he's improved as well. Still, though, Ryan O'Rourke was taken ahead of Brock Faber. I mean, you can't even, discuss that in the same sentence and be looked at seriously. It's crazy to think about. Jesper Wallsteed, a couple of stinkers, has brought his goals against average to 378. He's definitely been having a little confidence issues down there at the AHL, so that's unfortunate. So much for that 3 goalie thing, but I don't know why he's struggling that much in the AHL. It's kind of weird. He's a confident guy, so I'm not sure exactly what the reasoning for all that is. So that's disappointing. Michael Milne definitely taking steps forward along with Hunter Haight. Hunter Haight definitely doing well, and they're both pretty damn young. Milne is 21, Haight is 20. Yep, very young for Hunter Haight. Le Poisson. Okay, sorry. Oh, I love Le Poisson. No, I'm messing up. Riley Height, 28 points in 16 games, 8 goals, 20 assists, plus 7 for the Prince George Cougars. Rules right off your tongue. Just a waste of time having him stuck there, but that's the rules, baby. Not quite old enough yet to be a professional, and that sucks. Charlie Stramel, again, nice step forward. Almost has reached his point total from last year in 34 games, 8 with the University of Wisconsin. 6 points so far for Michigan State for Charlie Stramel, now a junior. 8 games, 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points, and he is a plus 5. That's good. He was a minus 10 his first year with Scotty, minus 4 last year, and a plus 5 this year with Michigan State. But Michigan State is pretty good. But so is Stramel. Nice to see him taking some steps forward. Good job, Charlie. Good job. Yes, and I am rooting for him. No sarcasm involved. 0. Rasmus Kumpalainen went back overseas, like I talked about, but that doesn't mean he's a lost cause yet. 10 points in 19 games so far. Last year he was at the OHL. The pro level, he's probably more likely to get something, rather than just kind of, kicking butt at the OHL. It's fun and everything, but so we'll see what happens with Kumpalainen. I don't think we're giving up on him or anything. He just went overseas for the time being. So we'll see. 10 points in 19 games for him so far. For Rasmus Kumpalainen. Jimmy Clark with the Gophers. Big step forward. Already reached his point total last year. 39 games, he had 11 points. This year, 10 games, he has 11 points. Jimmy Clark with the future national champion Golden Gophers, age 20 for the sophomore. Jimmy Clark, age 20 out of Edina. Go Hornets. Yep, he is a plus 10 on the year. Jimmy Clark looks like an awesome 7th round pick by Judd and Co. All those guys. So Aaron Plunk, 9 assists in 9 games for Duluth. Step forward from last year. -3 though, -7 unfortunately overall. Duluth ain't what it was before, but oh well, I don't think any of us are feeling bad for the UMD Bulldogs unless that's your team, I guess. Kalen Parker, who won it all in the WHL last year with the Moose Jaw Warriors, 42 points last year. 12 so far this year. He's a right shot defenseman at age 20. 3 goals, 9 assists in 19 games. He's a -6 versus a +21 last year. So that's unfortunate. Bogosian going toe-to-toe with Matt Dumba. Okay, just don't rip on his torso, okay? We don't need any more pectorals now. Dumba's like winning the fight, though. Come on, Bogo, you're big. Dumba's not that big. And I bet everybody's cheering for Dumba. Oh, come on. Come on, Bogo. He got beat by Dumba. I mean, Dumba's tough and everything, but what the heck, Bogo? You're big. Yeah, we know, Dumba. We know. We know, Dumba. Let's effing go. Yeah, we're happy for you. So what happened here? Oh, jeez. He almost injured Lauco there. So Dumba should be getting his butt kicked, not the other guy. What the hell, Dumba? He almost injured the dude. Well, that's a good distraction because it's wild related, but it sucks that happened. Danila Yurov. Who's that guy? I don't know. Only 11 points? He's actually taking a step back this year a bit. What the heck? 21 games, 5 goals, 6 assists. Does not mean he won't be successful in the NHL, but I don't know. Feels like a step back to me, unfortunately. Kind of sucks. But, yeah, I know. He's probably messing around like, oh, yeah, we all know what they do there. They mess around with the people, and they know they're going to leave soon. They're like, yeah, well, screw you. Yeah, well, screw you right back. Reger Lorenz, Denver Pioneers. Huge step forward last year. I don't know, baby step backwards so far. Only a half a point a game for the left wing junior of the Denver, whatever they're called, Pioneers. 10 games, 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points. He was a +21 last year, and he's even this year. So I'd say Reger Lorenz has regressed a little bit so far. That doesn't mean he's going to regress overall. But that's kind of disappointing. Ryan Healy. Oh, yeah, for Harvard. 1 assist in 3 games. Yeah, Healy has missed time in the past, so that's unfortunate. Come on, Healy from Harvard. What are you doing? Petrovsky. Nope, I don't think he's with the Wild anymore. Organization. Yep, we'll keep moving here. I apologize. I already talked about the class of 23, so let's look at 24. Somewhere I mentioned William with his 10 assists. Ryder Ritchie. Massive crappy start to the year so far with Medicine Hat. He was with the Prince Albert Raiders, 44 points in 47 games. Now, then again, it's not like he was dominant last year, but I don't think he's been good this year so far. What the heck? 1 goal, 1 assist in 6 games. So I don't know, getting acclimated to his new team, I guess. Still 18 years of age, so that's good. Kiviharu, Aaron Kiviharu from Denmark. That's that exciting defenseman everybody likes. Much more productive this year. He only had 7 games last year. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. This year, 23 games already. 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points. So definitely an interesting character. Sorry for that. Bumping things here. Kiviharu. Good job, man. So far. Soyani, the guy that everyone's like, who the heck is that? No offense to you, Mr. Sebastian. We'll see what happens. From Tampere, Finland. 1 goal in 9 games. And he's a +3. He is a right shot defenseman in Finlandia. Chad Wutzke from Saskatchewan. He's a goaltender, 5th round pick. 3.33 goals against average, 7 wins, 6 losses. Save percentage just under 90 at 89.7 in 16 games. For the Red Deer Rebels, rolls right off your tongue. Stevie Leskovar, Mr. Enforcer. Last year, 61 games, 113 penalty minutes, and a plus 11 with 12 points. This year, 5 games, no goals, no assists, -3 and 10 penalty minutes for the 6'3", 216 Enforcer. Enforcer defenseman, by the way. Kind of, he's a big guy. Maybe like Middleton when he first got here. But not a whole lot to brag about just yet for Leskovar. Cool name. Cool, to say the least. So that's the end of the prospect talk at the moment. Hopeful, though, with that things, got certain players that have appeared to come out to a slow start can get things rolling here, and that the Iowa Wild can continue to step up and play a little better. Boy, has it been a rough go for the Iowa Wild for the last few years here. What do they have? 5 wins and 7 losses so far. So, and then 1 tie or overtime loss or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, they've been winning a little bit more. I mean, they got off to a horrendous start to the year. At least they're kind of winning sometimes. And certain players aren't getting absolutely obliterated when they're on the ice. Like, they're not, like -39 or 29. Like Ryan O'Rourke last year was just frightening. It was like literally somebody bleeding to death. It's scary to think about at the end of the day. Kyle Masters, did I talk about him? I don't think I did. 1 goal, 1 assist in 7 games for Kyle Masters. Come on, Kyle, let's go. You're better than this. Damn it. With that, we'll take a quick break, return for fan interaction. What is the most exciting thing about Black Friday or Cyber Monday? It's about getting an amazing deal you wouldn't normally get, except with Raycon, because with Raycon, you get an amazing deal on premium audio every day of the year. But that doesn't mean they're not having any sales on Black Friday or Cyber Monday. Far from it. They're actually doubling down on their amazing value by offering my viewers to Brave the Wild up to 30% site-wide. A Black Friday or Cyber Monday deal you'll appreciate every day. Raycon's Everyday Earbuds, especially if you haven't checked out their latest model, which includes plenty of new features that make them even more of a must-have for any audio lover. For example, they now feature a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at once. Raycon's Everyday Earbuds also come with active noise cancellation. It's a feature that's a must-have for me on those long flights or at work in any type of situation. So definitely a deal like that at work when there's noise everywhere every dang second. But one that can be difficult to find at an accessible price point until now. Because that's the other thing. Although Raycon's quality rivals some of the biggest names in premium audio, Raycons start at just half the price as the other guys, so they're already an incredible deal even before you factor in their Black Friday or Cyber Monday offer up to 30% off site-wide. Incredible. So my personal feelings about Raycons, they are absolutely outstanding. I'm a personal customer, and I already was one even before they became a part of the Hockey Podcast Network. So when I heard they were going to be a part of things here, I was absolutely thrilled. I endorse Raycon 1,000%. Raycon's Everyday Earbuds are also available in a variety of vibrant colors, so you don't have to just have the standard issued white or black earbuds sticking out of your ears. So for me, my favorite color is the blue, but I think the greens are pretty cool too. That'd be a strong second choice. So obviously with Brave the Wild, green definitely is a factor in a big way. Blue, I mean, I just love it. It's a gorgeous color. Now it's the perfect time to scoop them up if you haven't already. And don't worry, if you're not as impressed as I am, Raycon offers a 30-day happiness guarantee, so you really can't lose. It's time to save big for the Black Friday/Cyber Monday. Go to buyraycon.com/THPN today to get up to 30% off site-wide. That's right, you'll get up to 30% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/THPN. back here on Brave the Wild segment number 3. I'm surprised this show's this long. I was going to do like something like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Whew, it's going to be well over an hour, it looks like, again. But I had so much to say about the Northstars. I mean, that was kind of the theme of the show. So, yeah. Anyhow, again, Thanksgiving is a traditional show that'll probably be the next episode, unless something really weird happens, like the Wild trade Kaprizov or something. Yeah, then you might want to get on the air. I don't think we're going to be trading Kaprizov. I hope not. That would be weird. Oh, that would be weird and depressing and stupid and stuff. At Brave the Wild is the Twitter account. Also, Brave the Wild _MN is the Instagram account. If you'd like to comment there, all this information is in the show description / show notes. If you'd like to interact on Instagram or the Twitter account. Otherwise, facebook.com / Brave the Wild. So, 3 different possible social media tentacles when it comes to this podcast. So, really appreciate all of you that have interacted in the past and will interact in the future. Trying to get the Instagram to load, and it keeps going to everything but Brave the Wild. That's what I get for having these multiple shows, right? Oh my God, it's driving me nuts. Finally, Brave the Wild _MN. Yes, like I said. So, yeah, I don't think there's been anything new going on there, unfortunately. Just likes and such, which I appreciate very much. So let's move on, dang it. I want to appreciate those of you that retweeted the most recent episode. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. Jay Bushy, Tom Hayen, Jennifer Adam, the Hockey Podcast Network, MN Johan, and Derek Felska at Crease and Assist. At Crease and Assist, do check out that show. It is awesome. Absolutely awesome with Kalisha Tonsel and, of course, Teresa Ferries. Great job, guys and gals. Or guy and gals. See what I did there? That was funny. And stuff. Anyhow, I was saying an insanely impressive play starting with Spurgeon to Rossi up to Boldy. Yep, that was where we had the game-winning goal. Derek Felsker says, it reminded me of the Dodgeball movie where Spurgeon turns the tables on a potential 3-on-1 to make it a 2-on-0, going the other way for the game winner. Yep. And then they show, yep, that's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. Well, thankfully it did, right? That was cool. That was cool, wasn't it, Derek? Yep. I was saying I like that. Nicely done. Some of those guys will be overtaken soon, but not bad at all. Tater Tot Huckdish posting some names up there for future, or excuse me, for like Minnesota Wild history, the top lines and such. So I think it's pretty cool. Brodeen Spurge on the top line all time with Brodeen? Yeah, I guess so. Dumba, he's not going to be there much longer. And Schultz, geez. Well, Faber's going to definitely overtake some of those people. So, yeah. Anyhow, I was saying, even when pissed off, John Hines looks even keel. Yes, he does. I like that about John Hines. And yet he's also much more willing to make moves with the lineup. Derek jumps in and says, and again, hashtag it BTWMN like Derek did. I really appreciate that. That way I can have everything organized. I can just kind of look up hashtag BTWMN, click on the latest tab, and then everything is in chronological order. What a concept. It's awesome. Derek says, again, for my response about John Hines, or for his response about John Hines, is he certainly doesn't seem to be complaining to the officials constantly like his predecessor, Dean Evison. Yep, I just threw in the Dean Evison part. Perhaps that's why we are not penalized as much, especially on the more marginal calls. Yep. I think you're dead on with that. I do. I was responding like I'm feeling it's becoming safer and safer to say that John Hines is an upgrade from what we had before. Less complaining combined with willingness to change things up. Derek says, so far, although the penalty kill still is terrible. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Luckily, we're not setting them up to, setting the team up to fail by having the penalty kill out there half the game like before, right? That's the other thing. It's sad to think about just how penalized we were. And it's like, we're going to lose because we're getting these 5-6 penalties and we have the worst frickin', penalty kill in like all time or something. And something that's miffed me for years is why the Anaheim Ducks, I was posting, why do the Anaheim Ducks wear orange when it's like hunting gear? Like, yeah, let's go duck hunting. Obviously because the hunter wants to wear orange, so he doesn't get accidentally shot by a different hunter. That is especially necessary for like deer hunting. You know, like you don't want to wear some, beige color to try to blend in with the deer. You know what I mean? Because, you might get shot. Yeah, that would suck. Not that I hunt or anything, but just saying. But I will do a game review on duck hunt someday in the future. A Christmas special one of these days on Video Game Flashback. Right now I'm working on Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers. Check out Video Game Flashback if you have the time, will ya? And you're a retro game fan. I've done 35 episodes already over the years. So, Brave the Wild. Okay, here we go. To the point. I've babbled enough. I have never understood why the ducks have the hunting gear color. If you're a duck, why would you want to be hunted? Bring back the green and purple. Derek said, actually, it's because the teal and purple were so dated and garish as a color combination. They thought going orange, black, and gold would be better. This time they decided to go full orange, and the result is garish again. Sometimes different is better. Sometimes it is. But yeah, they're back to garish again, like you said. The black and gold was okay, wasn't it? I kind of like I like the original Ducks colors, though. Maybe that's just because I'm kind of an 80s, 90s type of guy. Yeah. It's weird to think that, I suppose 90s was teal. Whereas like 80s, could be like the Charlotte Hornets look. Yeah, pastel, kind of blue and purple. Like the Charlotte Hornets in the NBA. I don't think there's a damn thing wrong with that color scheme. I really don't. But everybody's different, of course. I'm kind of a nerd. I'm kind of an 80s guy. I mean, I'm not kind of an 80s guy. I'm really an 80s guy. So, I'm really an 80s fan. I listen to a podcast called Blurry Creatures. It's got a lot of 80s theme to it, even though it looks at a lot of interesting things, to a point that, I like to make my shows kind of 80s vibe as well with the retro games, and a certain other podcast has some 80s theme to it as well. But we'll leave that where that is. Okay, yep, I was sharing M&W Young Guns, and a huge shout out to them at M&W Prospects. Really appreciate them very much. Pavel Burnett and Dustin Bakke, amazing guys. They do a great job with M&W Young Guns, keeping up with the prospects. I'm a part of the group, but I don't get super involved, unfortunately. And I wish I did, but I'm going to always be shouting out to you guys and keeping up with the prospects as much as I do on this show as well, because I think it's important. I really do. They're sharing how Ogren completes the hat trick. Yep, for the Iowa Wild. That was awesome. Derek responds with exactly what you want to see from Ogren: to go and play in Iowa and dominate, being used and having success in a top 6 role. Yep, rather than rotting in the press box. Yep, exactly. That's just a waste of time. Or the fourth line and getting 8 minutes a game and no situations at all. Yeah, it's dumb, right? I was saying, yep, absolutely, so on and so forth. Derek responded with, okay, how did I say it? Because Derek responded, absolutely, this is exactly what we were hoping for if he just went down there and did basically nothing. Oh, boy. It will be nice to see this young man dominate and then hopefully translate to the NHL for the real deal. Derek said, yes, hopefully by building his confidence where he can be more primed for the NHL, but also give Iowa an ace. Yes, exactly. An ace in the lineup so perhaps they can enjoy some playoff hockey for a change. Yeah, exactly. See, at least, that's what we were hoping for all this time with a lot of these, exciting prospects, supposedly exciting prospects in Iowa, versus only a bunch of career minor leaguers, which seemed to be the case a lot, especially in the Chuck Fletcher era. Tons of pretty much, in the Doug Risebrough era too, because none of the prospects hit ever. So you'd have a bunch of 30-year-old Quad A players, and hope for the best there. Quad A, yep. So, where am I going? Because, the AHL is basically Triple A, like in baseball. Yeah, Triple A, yep. Yeah, great to have. Yep, see, it's kind of like baseball as well. Also, the timing and everything. Hit some home runs, get your batting average up, and now come back to the Twins, to Major League Baseball, keeping up with Major League pitching now. So you build some confidence, swinging the bat. And it's kind of like that with hockey. It's not kind of. It's absolutely similar in hockey in terms of, again, building that confidence, hitting some homers, scoring some goals. Yeah, same thing, right? Well, kind of, but kind of, sort of. Yeah, getting that batting average up, too, if you're a goaltender or, again, just becoming a better overall hockey player, skater. Interesting one here by Derek, as we're heading into Thanksgiving season. It is Thanksgiving season. since we, it's in between Halloween and Christmas. It's Thanksgiving right now. If the Minnesota Wild were this is a poll that Derek did. If the Minnesota Wild were a Thanksgiving dinner side dish, what would it be? Mashed potatoes, green beans with French onions or fried onions. I can't believe how many people like that. Sweet potatoes or pumpkin pie. So which one? I picked mashed potatoes. And that's in second place right now. Green beans is in third, 25%. Again, this poll isn't over yet. It's got 15 hours remaining at the time I'm reading this. So yeah, get on board if you're listening. Sweet potatoes in the lead, 41.7. I'm the only person that responded. Weird. I was saying I went with mashed potatoes. They've been a nice story this year. And mashed potatoes with gravy, yes, I'm adding that. It's kind of cheating, but not really, because when you think of mashed potatoes, you think gravy too, right? Mashed potatoes with gravy is one of the most welcome things at the table, especially when you consider how bleeping disappointing the Timberwolves have been. That would have been the green beans, LOL. Can't stand those, yeah, because I don't like green beans. And I was saying how the Wild have been a wonderful story this year so far. 11-2-3. You can't argue that's been a great story. So they're very welcome, a very welcome part of the table right now with mashed potatoes and gravy. Because that's, out of those groups, as good as sweet potatoes are, especially if you add the marshmallows, mashed potatoes and gravy are an absolute bleeping staple. Now, I also shared the Northstars when Minnesota lost pro hockey YouTube video. Not one like, not one retweet, not one comment. Come on, guys, what's going on? You're like, maybe half of you are like, oh, I'm over it, move on. Whereas the rest of us are like, no, I'm not over it, I'm not moving on. Because, it's because Norm sucks. And not just because Norm sucks, but it shouldn't have happened that way. It shouldn't have happened. Do I appreciate the Minnesota Wild? You damn right I appreciate the Minnesota Wild. Of course, And that's why fans appreciate the Wild, because they saw what happened when they didn't appreciate the Northstars. They saw what could possibly happen. Like financial troubles led to Norm Green taking over the stupid team in the first place. But then he's just an idiot too, who also had issues. He couldn't really, as good of a businessman as he wasn't a good businessman. He was a failure too in a lot of ways. He wasn't that good. He had some success, but not owning sports franchises. Guess what? The Atlanta Flames, my second favorite team pretty much, the Atlanta/Calgary Flames. How did they wind up in Calgary? And who moved them to Calgary? Who helped move them to Calgary? He wasn't the main force moving them there. Oh, Norm Green was involved in that too. Isn't that messed up? Isn't that bleeped up? But Atlanta, talk about they just, hockey in Atlanta wasn't working out at the time, just like it did with the Thrashers. And supposedly there's going to be a third expansion opportunity for Atlanta, which sounds crazy. And then the what was I saying? My mind just stopped. Oh yes, Norm Green is from Calgary anyway, so it's not as weird and messed up. It's like, okay, he's bringing the team to his hometown anyway, so but it's still kind of messed up. But he was not the lead. He was not the lead dog in that ownership group that did that, but he was a part of it. And funny how it wound up in Calgary, which is where Norm Green is from. Makes me not want to be a Calgary fan, because Norm Green was on that staff. Or he was on the ownership. He did get a ring and all of that with the Calgary Flames when they won the Stanley Cup. Yeah, they won the Stanley Cup in '89, and Norm Green got a ring, and his name is etched on the cup. Do you believe that? Norm Green's name is etched on the Stanley Cup for the '89 Calgary Flames. That's right. Yep. So I guess we'll wrap up the show with that thought. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Instead of the Northstars, they were the No-Stars, because they left. And how close they were to winning that Stanley Cup with that 5-minute power play in Game 4. Yep, you'll hear about that as well. Yep, for those of you that may not really remember that thing taking place, or you're not old enough. Heck, there's a 27-year-old engineer where I work. He was 1 year old when the '98 Vikings happened. So it's like, think about that. Yeah, he's 27 now. 27, think about that. So like 91, you got to be up there to really remember. You got to be like in your 40s pretty much to remember the Northstars. So, or really late 30s, I guess. With that said, I've babbled enough, and I've really, really enjoyed this show. Obviously, huge shout outs to the Lunannies of the world, the Barreros, Yeah, I mean, great job on that documentary. Mike Modano gets the Mike Modano Award for this episode. Yes, he does. I'm smiling saying that. Norm got the James Shepard Memorial. Yeah, I don't know. I've already made my comments. And Dan, Minnesota, definitely a part of things all over the place when it comes to Minnesota sports hockey. Unfortunately, some calamitous things in the past. Huge shout out to him in general. Just love you, Dan, Minnesota. He's been on Barrero multiple times. Everybody loves Dan, Minnesota. Does a great job, great writer. Yep, did a great job on the on the Fighting Saints. It's a cool book. It's actually a very cool book. Slapshot, Slapshot in Minnesota hockey history. So it's really cool. Snapshot. Yep. So it's awesome for sure. So great job, Dan. With that said, I just want to thank each and every one of you for listening to the show always. Get your Raycons, get your DraftKings app, and use that game time. Yep. Get your DraftKings app and place your bets, and also do your use your game time to get your Wild tickets, Timberwolves tickets, Vikings tickets, Twins tickets when they come around later as well. So it'd be fun. Gophers too. You can Gopher hockey, baby. Future national champs. Or you can see Dumba get his butt kicked by Bogosian. Well, no, it seemed like kind of the other way around. That kind of bugs me. Damn it, Bogosian, you're too slow, man. Okay, I made enough of that comment already. So with that said, thank you so much for listening. Tell your friends. God bless everybody, and we'll be back by Thanksgiving for sure. Maybe before that. Who knows?
Between bad calls and intense rivalries, there's enough to stress about on game day. Keep your mind on the field and off your body odor with Dove Men Plus Care Whole Body Deodorant. Available at Walmart. Dove Men Whole Body Deo provides all-day odor protection from your pits, privates to feed. From pregame analysis to halftime insights to unexpected overtimes, Dove Men Whole Body Deo gives you confidence that lasts all day. Pick it up at your local Walmart.
This podcast is brought to you by Kleenex Lotion Tissues. You can't predict sick days, but with Kleenex Lotion Tissues, you can be better prepared for them while helping keep your skin healthy. Kleenex Lotion Tissues moisturize to help prevent skin irritation while you're battling those unwanted cold and flu symptoms. It's extra care when you need it most. Keep relief within reach. Grab Kleenex Lotion Tissues to help avoid the added discomfort of irritated skin during cold and flu season. For whatever happens next, grab Kleenex.
After the end of a good fight, you deserve an ice-cold reward. Modelo, you put in the hours, the energy, the tough labor, because you know the bigger the fight, the better the reward. Modelo, the mark of the fighter. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them, the right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey everybody, I'm Trevor Sikkema, host of the PFF NFL show, here to tell you what you can find on all of our shows throughout the week. On Mondays, we have the Grade Release Show, where myself and Dalton Washman break down every single game that you just saw in the NFL. On Tuesdays, we have the Quarterback Breakdown with Seth Galina. On Wednesdays, we've got the Rookie Review with John Ledyard and the preview for the upcoming week in the NFL. So make sure you are subscribed to the PFF NFL show wherever you get your podcasts.